Today we have a 2015 Toyota Sienna, and we are going to be repairing the exhaust leak on this vehicle. It's somewhere in the middle of the vehicle. We're going to be replacing the donut gasket and also be replacing with an exhaust spring bolt kit. Welcome back to the Moose Mobile Auto Repair channel. And so now this exhaust leak has been here for some time, and so we are going to fix it. There has been some false trouble codes that trips when the check engine light comes on, and so we are going to fix that leak to take care of that problem. So we are going to be repairing this one here. You can see all of the black soot here. This is where it's leaking from. So we're going to heat this up first because there's no way that this is coming out because of all this rust. We may not be able to get this free, so we may need to break the weld on the square piece that's inside here. So we'll have to heat it up and just go from there. This is a 14. Just try to loosen it up a little bit if you can. It's broken already. You can see all the rust. See how it's broken here? This is the piece here. You can see that the square piece is broken off here. I can't quite get the camera in there. Just gonna use the hammer to break this apart. You may need to grind this off and just put a nut behind that because there's no way that you can use it. It's just the square nut that comes from the factory on these exhaust pipes. So you can't really use it if it's too badly rusted. You'll have to put a new spring bolt kit along with the nut that fits, and you should be okay. So now we are just going to do the other side now. So you want to make sure that you're heating up the square nut piece along with the end of the bolt. You don't really want to heat up here. You want to focus on here because that's the part where you're trying to get it out. So that's where it's all threaded and rusted in. So I'm just using a map torch. A map torch works fine for this. It will take a wee bit longer. You can also hook up the map and the oxygen together, or you can use an oxyacetylene torch if you have access to one. So try to get it to red hot the best you can. You can use an impact too if you want. It doesn't really matter to save time. So we're just gonna wait for this to cool down, then we will separate the two flanges. So as you can see here, this piece is pretty much gone. So we're just going to grind it down to make a flat surface. And over here you can see the square nut is missing because of all of the rust. So we are just going to grind this guy down and make it flat so I can just install a nut, maybe a washer and a nut behind there. And then we'll continue to remove the old donut gasket. So now you can use like a sanding disc or a grinding wheel of some sort to sand these guys down. So this is relatively flat. So once you get this flat, do the other side the same way. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. As long as it's somewhat flat, then you should be okay. So all of these are done. I got them out. It's relatively flat and we're all good to go. So we are going to separate it now. So now we're just gonna try to see if we can separate the two here. You can see that the just trying to see if I can get some room here to separate this, just to get it out of the way. Just get it out of the way. You can see the donut gasket is pretty much disintegrated here. Just no good. That's why it's been leaking for quite some time now. So not much remaining. It's very thin too. So we just need to scrape off the area and clean it up. Trying to make myself some room here. I may need to lower the exhaust hangers a bit to make myself some room so I can get this out of the way here. There we go. So just lower it at the bottom here then you'll be able to work with no issues. So we're just gonna clean this area up. We're later going to clean up later on. We're gonna clean both sides of the flanges, this one and this one. Just scrape everything off the best you can. Probably use like a wire wheel or something just to clean up the area. So we're just going to clean the flanges here. We're gonna use a wire wheel to clean everything off. So we're just gonna clean here now. You just want to make sure that the area, the surface is nice and clean and free of any rust. And then you can install a new gasket and bolt it back up. So I got everything all cleaned up, but the issue now is I disturbed this area here. This is the same exact thing as the other side here. So we are going to be replacing this as well, and the bolts. Because when you work on this side, it's going to disturb everything on this side, and it's pretty badly like rusted here and flaking off. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that on camera, but you can see the rust is flaking off here, the rust pieces. So it's pretty much broken already, and this gasket moves a lot when I'm trying to get this out of the way. So we are going to be replacing this side as well. So as you can see, when I'm moving this around, you can see that the gasket is flexing too much. So I'm going to be replacing it because I don't want the customer to come back with a new exhaust leak. So we are going to be doing this side now. So we're going to heat this up. Loosening this up. Just be cautioned that it will be extremely hot. That's out. Get this out of the way. I'll have to heat up the other side now. So now we're gonna heat up this area now. Still a little bit seized in there. getting loose. The reason why I'm not using an impact or an impact driver is because I don't want anything to break while I'm doing this. Just trying to be on the safe side of things. So we're gonna remove this the secondary catalytic converter, and now it's out. So we have this piece here out of the way. So we have the secondary catalytic converter out. So we're going to remove the gasket and clean it up off the vehicle. We're going to clean the one that's on the vehicle. I'm just going to use a screwdriver to get this out. The gasket is no good on this side either. It's all shredded into pieces. All breaking apart here. Just trying to pry it off. You might be able to use maybe like a gasket scraper of some sort to make it easier, because you have more surface area on the flat sides to get this out easier. You have more surface area to get it off on the flat sides here, easier compared to using a screwdriver. So it's not coming out all in one piece, it's coming out in pieces. All the remnants of the donut gasket, old donut gasket. That's how you know it's no good. Just trying to pry that off here. Still trying to get the rest of the donut gasket off here. Just trying to pry with the screwdriver to scrape it inside to pop the gasket off. After you get majority of it off, it's beginning to come off now. So you can separate it, and you can see that it has the wire mesh inside, the wire mesh. So trying to get that out. Trying to evenly scrape it off. There you go. It's coming off now. Now it's all out. Just scrape off the leftovers after. Make sure this area is clean. So now the area is clean here. Now we're just gonna install the new gasket. It goes on like this. Then we are going to do the same on the vehicle to clean the other flange and to grind down the square nuts that we're not able to reuse. We're just going to grind down the square nuts here. Grind everything down. So now I've grinded down the rusted square nuts on both ends now. So you're all good to go now to reinstall the catalytic converter. I forgot to mention that now it's a good time to inspect the catalytic converter inside here to check the substrate honeycomb material inside. If there's any breakage or anything, to see if there's any issues or problems. So now is a good time to do a physical inspection. You can have a look inside here and on both sides, see if there's any breakage. You can also check to see if the light passes through, if it's clogged up or anything. You can see that the light is passing through as I point it into the sun. So that's how you'll know if it's clogged up or if you're having any issues for the catalytic converter. This is the converter that's not monitored by the O2 sensors. So the computer will not know if there's an issue with this one because there's no oxygen sensor connected directly before or after it, so it's not being monitored. So anyhow, we are going to reinstall this now onto the vehicle. So I just wanted to mention the exhaust donut gasket I'm using is by Walker, part number 31639. They will fit exactly the same part number on both sides here. So you will have to order 2 of the donut gaskets and 2 sets of the bolt spring kit. Bolt spring kit part number 36454. So we're going to install the gasket on this side as well, over here. Make sure it's firmly in place. Going to clean up this area a tiny bit. I'm going to reinstall this, make sure the gasket is on the other side here. Make sure it's lined up. Now the bolt spring kit doesn't come with these nuts here. The nut is an M10 by 1.25. So we're gonna install this like this, the way it was. You may or may not need a washer in the back here. If you need to, then add a washer if you need to. If not, you can just use the serrated nut. So now we're going to tighten this up. We have a 14 millimeter hex nut here on both ends. This is an M10 by 1.25, so we are going to tighten it up. The other end is a 17 millimeter. So we're just going to tighten it up. Trying to get some access here on the other end. Make sure it's in properly. Don't want to over tighten them. You may need to adjust it if it's on an angle, so you may need to fix it. You gotta make sure that the sleeve goes inside the hole properly, so you may need to adjust it. So just make sure that the sleeve is straight. The sleeve will not go through the hole here because it's too small. So you just need to line it up to keep it through here, and the nut will tighten it up. And the same for the other side. So now we're gonna do the other side here and make sure the gasket is inside all the way. If the bolts don't go through, then you will need to grind down in the back of here on where the square nut, the fixed square nut was. You will need to grind it down a little bit more in order to get the bolts through. So we're going to tighten this up now. You want to do it evenly before you tighten everything down. Just give it a final tightening afterwards. Just tighten it down snug. Doesn't need to be very tight. And should be all good to go after that. So now just make sure everything is tight and double check your work. I'm going to start the vehicle. Make sure there's no exhaust leaks, and then you should be all good to go. I'll probably do a quick of the spray painting with the exhaust header paint, just to prevent rust for the future, and then that's it. So I have a helper to rev it up a little bit. There's a little bit of condensation. So I tighten up the bolts a little bit, and okay, shut it up. I tighten up the bolts a tiny bit just to verify, make sure there's no leaks. There may be a tiny bit of condensation, but as long as that goes away, you should be okay. Just make sure you check for leaks and make sure everything is okay, and then you're all good to go. Now, typically you're not supposed to have any condensation or water leaks, so you need to watch out for that. Just make sure the bolts are tight and you should be okay. And just spraying a little bit on the bolts for the rust proof so it doesn't rust in the future. I let the customer road test the vehicle now. I could see that as the customer was accelerating, I could see all the water coming out of the tailpipe. So if there's still a little bit of water, you may see a slight amount of condensation until the exhaust warms up and the water evaporates. Then you shouldn't be able to see any leaks. But the old gaskets were extremely bad, so the exhaust leak was apparent. It was always there. So now we put the new gaskets and everything is okay now. Now the customer is coming back. We're just confirming the exhaust leak. So we're back from the road test. Now it's at 2000 RPM. I don't see any leaks now. And so we had it at 2000 RPM. I don't see any leaks now, so all should be okay. Earlier I saw a lot of water come out of the tailpipe as the customer was accelerating. When they went for a road test, I could see all of the water still inside the exhaust, so the exhaust just needed to evaporate all of the water that was inside, because the vehicle has been sitting for some time. So now the vehicle is all fixed now. There's no more leaks. The customer is happy. I am happy. And that's it. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already a subscriber, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day and take care.